This right here is a travel router, and I get asked all the time, what is a benefit of having a travel router? Why do I want to bring this around with me? Well, we are taking a vacation for the family right now here at beautiful Oceanside, California, and I wanted to bring all of the devices that I possibly had on this trip to show you guys the benefits of just getting everything just so easily connected. So what I did is we have our travel router right here. This thing I plugged in downstairs, got it up, and all of the devices that I brought immediately hopped online. And this is what I brought. So we've got the travel router here. I brought everything that we had. So we've got our phones, grandparents' phones, our old phones that we use for the kids. Now, granted, the kids aren't using these on a vacation, but we have also got our Google Chromecast. We have a couple of laptops right here. As soon as I plugged this guy in, every person grabbed their own device and were immediately online and ready to go. Now, the hotel here does provide Wi-Fi, but that's something that I would have to individually go through each one of these devices and get connected. Not anymore. Plug that in, good to go. Another great thing and an option with this one too, I can take this and let's say now instead of being at a hotel at a beach, I am on a cruise ship and I'm looking at a cruise ship. I want to buy an internet package. I only want to buy one package. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy connected to the one package, and it will bring every one of these devices up online sharing that one connection. It is such a good deal, and for the price, I mean, that alone is worth it right there. But let's talk more about this travel router and what it is capable of. So TV channels on hotel TVs have got to be the worst. I feel like there's nothing to watch. You're either going to be stuck watching their local programming or the guide, and then the channels that they offer is pretty much nothing because they want you to purchase the better channels, which is why I always like to bring a streaming stick with me when I'm going on trips, because then I get everything that I want already preloaded on there, all the apps, all the streaming stuff that I watch. I can continue binge watching all of that stuff. And that was something that we did on this recent trip. And having the Slate AX was pivotal in making that happen. Because typically what happens if I bring a streaming stick on a trip is that I get stuck behind that captive portal, that website that pops up and asks you to sign in with your hotel credentials, that meaning like your room, your last name, and maybe the dates that you're leaving from your vacation. This allows me to bring that up, enter in that data, get connected to hotel Wi-Fi, and then I'm off and running. Anything now that connects to this device is going to have a connection to the internet, which makes it so great. But with that said, let's go ahead and talk about some of the hardware features that we're going to be getting with this device right here. So to specify, this is the GL AXT 1800, also known as the Slate AX. This is a Wi-Fi 6 gigabit wireless router and comes in a nice small form factor size because these are also known as travel routers. You can essentially stick this in your pocket and carry it wherever you want to. Now, if we take a look at the back of the device, we have USB-C for power. We've got 3 1 gig ports on the back. One is going to be for your WAN connection and the others are going to be for your LAN connection. So not everything has to connect to this thing wirelessly. You can actually plug devices into it also. We've got USB 3.0 for tethering or connecting an external hard drive. So you got the option of doing either one right there. You can even plug in a USB extender to use multiple ports on this thing. So if you want to plug in that extender and maybe plug in an external hard drive into this and use it kind of as a NAS, and also plug in maybe your cell phone to do tethering, you can do that also, which is pretty cool. Now, if you don't want to bring an external hard drive with you or a thumb drive, and you just want to have local storage on the device, on the side, there is a slot for a micro SD card. So you can plug that in and be able to access that micro SD card from any device that is connected to it. Now, on the other side of the device is a toggle button and a mode button. Now, we're going to be talking about those a little bit later, but you can customize this. So like I mentioned earlier, this is Wi-Fi 6 compatible, meaning that we're going to be getting lightning fast speeds out of it. Now, when you're traveling, hotel Wi-Fi isn't always going to be the fastest connection possible. Depending on where you are in the hotel, you may get some really slow connection. So you do have the option of plugging it into an Ethernet port if that is available to you. That's going to give you the fastest connection possible. Combined with that Wi-Fi 6, all of your Wi-Fi devices will have the best experience that you can have. But if that is not an option, you can get this thing connected to hotel Wi-Fi, and this device will become a repeater, allowing all of your devices to use that one Wi-Fi connection. Now, to manage everything on this device, you are going to want to use a laptop and log in to the portal. This is what the portal looks like right here. Let me scroll up a little bit. and it's going to kind of give you an overview of everything that's going on here on the internet tab. So we can see here, I've got my repeater turned on for Wi-Fi. I am connected up to our Wi-Fi here in the house, and we can see that it is the 5 gig and the 2.4 gigs are set up. Now we see that we have some options here. You can set up AdGuard, IPv6, a VPN, or Tor. We've also got different internet connections. So in addition to the Wi-Fi repeater, you can set up an Ethernet, you can tether from a phone, or you can plug in a cellular device to get this thing connected too. So I want to actually plug in right now an Ethernet cable, and we can see the options that it's going to give us. So up here at the top where it says Ethernet, that is going to highlight for us. And then down below here, we now see the Ethernet tab, and it's going to give us some options. So we've got the protocol that's connected to, our IP address, our gateway, our DNS server are all going to be listed right there. I do have the option of modifying it if I wanted to. Scrolling down a little bit, we can see the Wi-Fi that we are connected to with all of the same options. And then down below that, we can see the other two connections that have not been set up yet. That is going to be the tethering and our cellular connection. Now, if you click on the Wi-Fi tab, we can see our different options here. So we've got our wireless 5 gig connection up here, and then down below, we've got the 4 gig connection. You can set up guest Wi-Fi if you want to turn that on. Mine's currently off. And if you click on modify here, you can set different things like setting up the Wi-Fi security. You can also change your SSID name and password and all of that good stuff right there. We've also got our different Wi-Fi modes right here. So all customizable, all things that you can set up in Wi-Fi. Now, if you want to know what is connected to your device, you can click on client. This will show everything that is connected or has been connected and what its current status is. You can see the speeds it's getting. You can see its IP and MAC, which I'm going to be having blurred out. But here are all the options here for things that are connected to the device. Another great thing about the Slight AX is its VPN options. So you can go through and set up a VPN on here, whether that's going to be a client or a server, and get connected to use it in certain ways. So I went on here and I set up an Open VPN client with the VPN that I use, which is private internet access. And that is going to allow me to connect to this specific VPN and essentially spoof the area that I am in. So a couple months ago, I took a trip to Mexico. When I was in Mexico, I brought a portable speaker with me because we're at a nice resort and I wanted to listen to some music. And I found out that apparently in Mexico, I can't listen to Pandora. Pandora is completely blocked down there. So I turned on my VPN, got connected, said I was here in the States, then connected my phone to the travel router, and everything worked. It worked fine, thought it was in the States, got Pandora up and running, and was able to listen to the stations that I like to listen to. That is one thing that I love about a VPN. You can also additionally set up a different VPN where it can connect to, say, your NAS at home. So what I would do is I would go into my NAS or network attached storage, which is kind of like a mini server at home, and I can host an Open VPN server on there. So what that allows me to do is connect the travel router to that VPN that is hosted locally in my house. And then every device that connects to it will act as if it is still in my house. This is going to give me access to computers, to printers, to security cameras. Everything that I have here, I will be able to access securely through that VPN connection. Now, another great thing about setting it up locally here on the travel router is that every device that is connected to it will have access to those features. So I don't have to go through and connect every device individually with the VPN and give it access. I can even set up that guest network and have friends and family connect to it, which will also get the benefits of this device right here. Now, what made that great when I just took the recent vacation that you saw at the beginning of this video is that I brought everything in this house that possibly connects to the internet because I wanted to test on that vacation its ability to just be able to plug it in and turn it on and go. And that is exactly what happened. So at home, I did have to manually go through, set up each one of the devices, the laptops, the kids' tablets, all the phones that we brought, the Google Chromecast, whatever streaming service that you have. I connected all of those locally at home so they have a connection. Once we got to the hotel, all I did was I took the travel router, I plugged it in, I got it connected to the internet, and then every device that we had automatically connected to that router and they were up online. It was the best thing ever. Now, granted, we don't let our kids use devices when they're on vacations, even though I brought them anyway, which was a little bit of a issue when I took the things out for testing, but wouldn't let the kids use them. Anyway, everything connected, was online. I didn't have to go through and connect each one individually to the Wi-Fi. It was great. I loved it. Okay, so let's go back over to the admin panel that we're getting with our device. We saw that we've got our VPN options right here. This is capable of setting up the OpenVPN, WireGuard, and then also the Tor options if you do want to set that up. If we click on applications here, we've got options here for configuring our dynamic DPS, good cloud, network storage. So if we do have anything plugged into the network storage, we can access it from here. AdGuard, home, parental controls, zero tier, and also Tailscale can be set up there through the applications. Now here in networking, we have got a lot of different options here. We've got the port forwarding, multi-WAN connection here. So what's cool about this is that I can actually connect multiple different internet access to here. So I can have my Ethernet plugged in, I can have the Wi-Fi plugged in, I can have phone tethering turned on, and I can have all of those connected at the same time. Now there are two options when you have that. If you look here, we have got the option for failover, meaning that if one isn't connected, it'll fail over to the next one. You can set the priorities right here. So for me, I've got Ethernet number 1, our Wi-Fi repeater at number 2, and then tethering at number 3. Typically that's going to be the slowest. Or we could do a load balancing where it will just take all of those connections, create one main connection, and then use that to give access to everything that is connected to it. Typically, if I do have Ethernet connected, I like to do the failover because I want it to use the Ethernet as the primary connection. But that is a cool option that you can do right there. We've also got our LAN settings, guest DNS, network mode. So network mode right here is going to give us the different options that we can have with this thing. We can set up as a router, an access point, an extender, or WDS. So we can see the different options down here. We do have our NAT settings if you do want to mess around with those. But one other thing that I wanted to point out on here was going to be our toggle button. So I talked about this earlier, but you can adjust that toggle button and what it does. So here are the different options for that toggle button. So we can do AdGuard, home, on or off, OpenVPN client on or off, Tor client on and off, and then WireGuard client on and off. So for me, maybe I want to set up my OpenVPN client on and off. I don't have to go in here and turn it on and off every single time. I can just go to the tab on the side and actually toggle that on and off. This might be good if you are connecting to, say, a home VPN client, because even though that's going to give you a great connection, let's say I'm traveling overseas and I want to have the secure connection of it being in my house, that does add an extra layer of communication onto it, which is going to add to its latency. So you may not get the best connection if you do have that VPN turned on, but maybe there's a reason you need it turned on. You're accessing some private files at home or anything like that. So it might be nice to have that on, but on your normal day-to-day use, surfing the web, doing different things, you may not want to have it on. So instead of having to go into the settings each time, just to have a button on there to turn it on and off, I think is awesome. It's something that I really like as one of the features of this device. Now, just because this device is known as a travel router doesn't mean you always need to be traveling to use it. As we saw, this is a nice Wi-Fi extender that you can connect to. So if you are having problems in your house, maybe you have a dead spot in there and you just need to get some extra connection to it, this can be used for that. And when I think traveling, I think international traveling, somewhere abroad, somewhere where I have to be far. That's not always the case too. I mean, I could do it if I'm traveling to my parents' house or traveling to my in-laws' house. It doesn't have to be far away. This is going to give you the access to set up that VPN. Maybe you need to port back to your house to use something. This is going to make it a lot easier for you to use and set up. If this is something you want to check out and know more about, be sure to check the links in the description. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. As always, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.